Every day you are forced to choose. You wake up and the world demands your capital and your energy. You feel the weight of every dollar spent and every investment missed. Most people live in a state of constant financial panic. They react to the market. They react to their bosses. They react to the bills piling up on the kitchen table. But there is a man who built an empire of trillions by doing the exact opposite. Jeff Bezos does not move with the crowd. He operates with a cold and calculated stillness that resembles a leader from 2,000 years ago. By the end of this journey, you will understand how to stop being a slave to your bank account. You will learn to govern your assets like a ruler rather than a servant. The path to financial freedom is not found in a spreadsheet. It is found in the way you perceive the chaos of the global economy. Amazon began in a cold garage with nothing but a desk made from a wooden door. Jeff Bezos left a high-paying job at a hedge fund to pursue an idea that everyone called insane. Imagine the pressure of seeing your net worth tied to a volatile internet startup while the world waits for you to fail. This is the same pressure you feel when you check your portfolio during a market crash. It is the same knot in your stomach when you wonder if your savings will last through the month. Bezos understood that the biggest threat to wealth is not a bad market, but a reactive mind. Most people lose their fortune because they let fear dictate their selling and buying. They seek short-term comfort and sacrifice long-term growth. You have likely felt this same anxiety when a sudden expense ruins your monthly budget. You feel like a victim of circumstances. Bezos faced the dot-com bubble burst and watched his stock price plummet by more than 90%. Any other investor would have panicked and sold their shares to save what little was left. But he did not flinch. He remained unmoved by the noise of the Nasdaq. He focused on the only thing that matters in business and finance, which is the quality of the next choice. You are currently fighting a war for your financial future, and you are losing because your emotions are in charge of your money. You worry about the price of gold or the inflation rate as if they are personal attacks against you. This anxiety is a form of mental poverty. Bezos realized that to become the wealthiest man on earth, he first had to become the master of his own internal reactions. He treated every market fluctuation as an external event that had no power over his logic. He saw the economy as a vast ocean and himself as the steady captain who refuses to be tossed by the waves. This is the difference between a man who manages cash flow and a man who rules an empire. You must decide if you want to be the person who fears the interest rates or the person who uses them to build a legacy. The stress you feel about your credit score or your tax return is not a product of the numbers themselves. It is a product of your lack of a governing philosophy. Marcus Aurelius once wrote that the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. For Bezos, the color of his thoughts is pure long-term value. He practices what the Romans called the view from above. When you look at your debts or your interest rates from a distance, they lose their power to terrify you. Marcus Aurelius governed an empire while facing plague and war, yet he maintained a steady hand on the treasury. He knew that we do not control the wind, only the sails. In your personal finance, the market is the wind. Your savings rate and your spending habits are the sails. Seneca taught that no man is crushed by fortune who does not first believe that fortune is his own. If you treat your income as a tool rather than your identity, you gain a massive advantage over your competitors. The Roman emperor did not care about the applause of the masses. He cared about the stability of the state. You must care about the stability of your estate. Think of your cash flow as a river. If you do not build a dam of logic, the water will simply flow away into the hands of others. Stoicism is the dam that protects your wealth. Epictetus reminded us that some things are up to us, and some things are not up to us. Your salary might be determined by your boss, but your expense ratio is determined by you. When you stop obsessing over what the Federal Reserve does and start obsessing over what your own hands do, you unlock a level of financial power that few ever achieve. Bezos applies this by ignoring short-term stock volatility. He looks at the horizon of 10 years, while others look at the next 10 minutes. This is why he is a ruler, and others are merely gamblers. He has internalized the wisdom of Zeno, who taught that well-being is realized by small steps, but is truly no small thing. Every dollar you save and every asset you acquire is a small step toward your own sovereign state. You must view your bank account as a reflection of your discipline. If it is empty, it is because your mind is cluttered with desires that do not serve your financial independence. To decide like a Roman emperor, you must implement a framework of asymmetric risk. Bezos uses a process called the regret minimization framework. He asks if his 80-year-old self would regret not making an investment. This simple shift in perspective removes the fear of the present moment. You should apply this to your credit card debt and your impulse purchases. Before you swipe, ask if your future self will thank you for this liability. If you focus on your internal control, write wealth in the comments. Another practical step is the rule of high-quality decisions. Bezos believes that making 3 great decisions a day is enough to build a monarchy. In your financial life, this means focusing on the big wins. Focus on your mortgage, your tax strategy, and your retirement account. Stop wasting mental energy on small coupons while you ignore the massive leak in your overhead expenses. Stop checking the stock ticker every hour. Set your automated investments and walk away. This is how you reclaim your time and your sanity. You must also practice the premeditation of evils. Imagine losing your primary income today. If that thought breaks you, then you are not a ruler. You are a subject. Build an emergency fund that acts as your palace walls. This liquidity provides the peace of mind required to make bold acquisitions when others are paralyzed by dread. A true leader expects the drought and prepares the granary. You must prepare your diversified portfolio so that when the next recession hits, you are not a victim seeking a bailout. You are the buyer who finds value in the rubble. This is how the rich stay rich. They do not have more luck. They have more emotional control and a better risk management strategy. They do not buy things to impress people they do not like. They buy assets to buy back their time. Your wealth should be a fortress that allows you to live according to your own principles, not the whims of a creditor. True power is not the ability to buy anything. True power is the ability to need nothing. The world wants you to stay in debt because a man in debt is a man who can be controlled. By adopting the mindset of a Roman emperor, you take back the crown of your own life. You realize that money is a servant, not a master. You stop chasing the phantom of more and start mastering the reality of enough. This clarity of purpose is the ultimate competitive advantage. When you are no longer driven by the hunger for status, your investment decisions become clear and precise. You begin to see the global market as a game of patience rather than a game of speed. You become the predator who waits for the right moment to deploy capital instead of the prey who runs at every sound. Subscribe to Money and Stoicism to master your finances and your mind. Like this video if you seek true freedom. Now that you have the tools to build your empire, you must choose to use them. Your path to a legacy of abundance and peace begins with the very next choice you make with your wealth. I look forward to seeing you in the next exploration of how ancient wisdom creates modern power. Will you continue to be a victim of the economy, or will you start building your own world today? Watch this next video to continue your journey.